First thing I heard when I woke up this morning was Alan Watts' voice in my head, and he was saying, "The road to hell is paved with good intentions." I thought that was interesting. And then I was thinking about the Carl Jung quote, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will control your life and you will continue to call it fate. And it made me think about, of course, a Course in Miracles. It also made me think about dementia. But it made me think about how moving so fast or being out of alignment with ourselves, like in a hypercatabolic state in the body, in the nervous system, fight or flight, how when we're in these states, our view becomes so narrow and we miss the blessings that come to us. We miss the opportunities for joy and for love and for help around us when we are so focused on doing what we think we should do, or just being caught up in the midst of the speed of everything, the speed racer mentality. I have this quote that I keep in my room. It says, "Don't let a mad society convince you that success is anything other than a successful present moment." And it's true, there many people profit off of us being stuck in the stress response and being out of balance. And my deepest passion is to simplify what health means to me in the body, and that is to be like present in the body, to be calm, to be able to show up for other people in a calm place and provide a safe space. And I've not always done that in my life. There are a lot of times where I've pushed for things, or I've tried to, because I always seek to find balance for myself when I meet people who are out of balance, which we're never always all in balance because we go through these seasons. Sometimes it makes me tight and tense in my body instead of just relaxing and accepting the person for where they are. It makes me tight and tense, and it makes me want to tell them how they're out of balance and what their symptoms are. It makes me want to connect the dots. It makes me get into this speed racer mentality. And that's what that quote was in my head this morning, is the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I have had that bite me in the ass so many times because I've had good intentions, and it's not always what other people need at that particular time. And one thing, I'm talking about this and I'm thinking about years ago when I came home, and particularly with my family, because like when you're trying to get your health in order and focus on your health, and the whole world is on like a different page, like eating healthy should be the norm, like caring about your body, caring about these chemicals in the food should be the norm. But a lot of people, like, you can't fault people for growing up in like a sick society and having normalized things that are constantly inflaming us, constantly making us neurotic, constantly putting us in that fight or flight response because it's so normal, until you wake up to the alternative, which is, it could be easier if we take some of these chemicals out. Maybe I don't have to gain as much weight so fast. Maybe I don't have to lose my muscle mass. Maybe I don't have to always feel tired. But in the meantime, when I came home from college and I was awake to all these things, I was like screaming at my family, like saying, we can't do this. Like, I remember crying and being like, why are we eating like this? I remember going into my pantry and throwing away, like we had like 4 cans of Pam spray. And I just took all that and I just threw it in the garbage. My mom was like, don't waste it. And I'm like, it's not wasting it. This is chemicals in the body. And even though I had good intentions, I brought a tornado and a hurricane to my family. The pathway, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. what it reminded me of is, in my biggest journey, is just to leave people be, to mind my own business, to take care of myself first, and to remember that just presence alone, your calm presence alone, changes people's biochemistry. When you have your own biochemistry and people have their own, and whenever you come into the vicinity with them, even if you're thinking about them from miles away, I'm like so emotional right now because I'm thinking about things in my past that I wish I could go back and change. And my friend the other day told me, he said, your pain makes you who you are. And I had just seen a video, of Andy Glazer. If you guys have never heard about him, he's an ultra runner. And he talked about how he was a meth addict, like years and years ago. And that's how he got into ultra running, because he experienced a lot of trauma in his youth. And he said there was people on the internet that was attacking him and calling him a meth head and, you know, trying to condemn him for his past. And he's like, you just have to scroll and move on. And, you know, the fact of the matter is that, like, people are always going to perceive you through their own lens. You're always going to be a villain in somebody's book. You're going to be the greatest, most beautiful in this other person's book. You know, you can't control the way that other people perceive you. But anyway, I was getting emotional because I was thinking about how I wish that I would have taken a more gentle approach with people in my past that I've tried to change, because when you're trying to change people, you're not loving them for who they are. The most loving thing that you could do, what I've learned, is really just give people the space to figure things out in their own time. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, you know, and the more you push people away. And I guess that's like the law of detachment, what people call it. But I think I have a bad case of twin syndrome too, where, you know, I was born a twin, so I really don't, when I talk to people, like, I don't hold a barrier between us. Like, if I'm talking to you, and people who know me know this, like, if I'm talking to you, like, I fully love you. Like, there's nothing I have to hide from you, or I don't want to deceive you in any manner. Like, I believe that truth is so important in long-term relationships. Being who you are helps you connect to other people, and, you know, also, not everybody grows up that way either. So anyway, this was just some thoughts that were on my mind when thinking about that Carl Jung quote and making the unconscious conscious. I always think about how we are creative creatures, and using the cerebellum to write things down, using the cerebellum to move. The cerebellum, the little brain in Latin, is responsible for motor coordination. This is the cerebellum. It has more neurons than almost the entire brain. That's how powerful the cerebellum is. It has connections to the memory center, has connections to the frontal cortex. It also connects with secondary motor responses, secondary sensory responses, and it's involved highly with deterioration of the body in all disease states. So when you move and you speak and you write, you are communicating with that cerebellum, and you're bringing the shadows that you hold into the light. And we all have shadows. We all have things that we wish we would have done differently, and even there are things that you don't even remember that you're holding in your conscious awareness. That's why I say pay attention to your dreams, because your dreams will tell you everything. They will tell you everything you need to know. and about what's going on in your subconscious world. So between this catabolic state, this breaking down of the tissues, this deterioration of the body, and this building up side, I really do believe there's a middle ground between heaven and hell. Breaking down, tense state, dehydration is like hell on earth, high inflammation, high cortisol. And then we have that relaxed state, that open state, that calm state where our muscle mass is easy to maintain. The cerebellum is responsible for that middle state, that coming together, and being in a balanced place. So I just wish you the best of luck. And I also just want to leave you with the thought to be conscious of who you surround yourself with, because, talking about parasite cleanses, like people that we hang out with that drain us, they can be considered a parasite, but we are also a parasite to ourselves because we allow ourselves to be put in certain situations. We allow ourselves to continue in habits that drain and exhaust us, and we allow an environment to become a space where a parasite would love to be in. But you don't have to allow this state. Leave people be, give people space, give yourself space from the habits that drag you into being exhausted, being drained, because our natural state is to be so energetic and so lively and so relaxed and at peace in who we are. So anyway, it's a growing journey. I'm right there with you, gotta say. Very imperfect. I am so imperfect. Sometimes it breaks my heart. But anyway, I do try my best. I love you so much. You're so beautiful. We don't see ourselves accurately. You're just trillions and trillions of tiny cells waiting for you to remember that we are tiny, tiny factories, little bitty tiny factories capable of so much energy. So I'll leave this here. I love you so much. I'll catch you later.